At the beginning of the story, a boy named Dwan is living in a boys' hostel. Then, suddenly, a girl named Jinbi comes from the future into the boys' bathroom. She sees Dwan taking a bath and says, "What are you doing here in the girls' bathroom?" Dwan replies, "This is the boys' bathroom." Hearing this, Jinbi walks out. Dwan is quickly pouring water when Jinbi comes back again and says, "I can't understand anything." She sees Dwan the same way again, still bathing. So Jinbi quickly heads toward a room outside. But there too, there are only boys. She runs from there back to the bathroom, where she sees Dwan again. In the next scene, Jinbi is looking for a way to get outside. But everywhere there are only boys, so she quickly comes back and checks the lockers, saying, "Where is my phone?" While she is searching for the phone, Jinbi comes face to face with Dwan again. As she is running, a fat man and an assistant see her and ask, "What are you doing here in the boys' bathroom?" In the next scene, Jinbi is with a fat man and a woman. She is sitting in a room with them and says, "I want to go back home." A little while later, Jinbi hears the news that the year is 1999. Jinbi is shocked and thinks, "How is this possible? How have I come 20 years back into the past?" She starts trying to remember the present time, and then the present comes to her mind. In the next scene, the present is shown where Jinbi is running quickly to get to school, and there, her mom, Miss Kitong, is running late for her job. Jinbi is 17 years old. Jinbi's father gave her mom a divorce from the very beginning, so she has never seen her father to this day. Jinbi is often late for school because she does all her work herself. When Jinbi's mom comes to meet the school teacher, she is all dressed up and wearing heavy makeup. Jinbi says to her mom, "Why are you so dressed up?" Then her mom says, "I came this stylishly so that everyone here would think we are very rich." Jinbi says to her mom, "Don't tell any lies in the class." But Jinbi's mom tells long, tall stories in class. "I have studied at the most famous university in China." Jinbi feels very awkward about what her mom is saying. There, the teacher catches Jinbi's mom and asks, "I also studied at that university. Well, I've never seen you." The whole class then finds out that Jinbi's mom told a lie. Jinbi's mom comes out and apologizes to Jinbi, but Jinbi says, "I told you not to lie." Jinbi's mom says, "How was I to know that your teacher would also be from that same university?" She continues, "So what if I couldn't study? I got you admitted into a good school." At this, Jinbi gets angry and leaves, saying, "If I am a burden, then don't get me admitted." As soon as Jinbi gets home, she opens the freezer and sees that the freezer is completely empty. On top of that, the lights go out too because Miss Kitong has not paid the electricity bill. She calls her mom, but her mom is with a client to sell products. Jinbi goes out to get food, but as soon as she checks her account, there is not even a little money in it. She comes back without getting food. As soon as she gets home, she finds her mom passed out drunk outside the house. She takes her mom inside and lays her down in the room. Jinbi is very fed up with her mom. In the next scene, Miss Kitong goes to the teacher and tells her everything. "Whatever I said yesterday was all lies." The teacher says, "I know everything, but we should be concerned about Jinbi," because when Jinbi was messaged that she could be expelled from school, she replied that she had already quit. In the next scene, Miss Kitong goes out to look for Jinbi and also calls her friend saying, "Jinbi is not to be found." Miss Kitong's friend says, "Could Jinbi have gone off to look for her dad?" But Miss Kitong doesn't agree and cuts the call. At that moment, Jinbi is spotted sitting right in front. Miss Kitong comes to Jinbi and says, "Is it true that you have left both home and school?" Jinbi replies, "I'm about to turn 18 very soon and I can make my own decisions." At this, Miss Kitong says, "If you wanted to leave me alone, you would have left me when you were 8 years old." Jinbi shows her mom a divorce card and asks, "Why did you and father get a divorce? You don't want to tell me anything." Miss Kitong says, "Don't get into your brother's matters." At this, Jinbi says, "Why would I know about my brother's matters? I don't even know who my father is." Her mom says, "I have raised you. You have gotten everything until now. You've had a good life." At this, Jinbi gets angry and says, "What kind of life have I had? I don't even have my own bed and I cook my own food myself. I am not at all happy with this life." Her mom says, "You are not the only one unhappy with this life." Then Miss Kitong says, "I drink with clients even when I don't want to, and I listen to my boss and only for you, but you are not happy with me." Then Jinbi says, "This is exactly why I want to go away from you. I wanted a normal childhood, but it was not my destiny." Her mom says, "I also did not deserve the life I got." At this, Jinbi, feeling hurt, leaves, and Miss Kitong doesn't even stop her. Jinbi then goes to the girls' bathroom, where she gets into a girl's bathroom suit to take a steam. She puts her mobile in her locker and goes to take the steam. While she is taking the steam, quite a long time passes and she quickly comes out. But right at that moment, the end time begins, meaning she opens the door a little too far, and directly in front, in the boys' bathroom, Dwan is bathing. The same scene starts again that was shown at the very beginning of the drama, where Jinbi is very distressed. Jinbi has come 20 years into the past because of time travel. The fat man is scolding, but the assistant tells Jinbi, "This is Taekang." Jinbi says, "Just give me my clothes and I want to go back home." At this, Taekang starts looking at the assistant, but the assistant says, "I don't know what clothes she's talking about." Taekang says, "Fine, Jinbi, I'll give you my clothes." In the next scene, Dwan is leaving, and as he goes, he asks the assistant, "Who is this girl?" The assistant replies, "She's some psycho." Dwan quickly runs away from the assistant. Jinbi is not liking the clothes of Mrs. Kang at all, but Mrs. Kang says to Jinbi, "Are you leaving from here or not?" The assistant arranges a cab for Jinbi. As soon as Jinbi comes out, she sees that everything looks different. Nothing there is the same as before. Snacks from 20 years ago are also being sold. As Jinbi passes by a theater, the movie Titanic is playing. Jinbi thinks, maybe it's the movie's anniversary. When Jinbi passes by a phone booth, the phone is ringing. When Jinbi picks up the phone, a mysterious man says, "You are Jinbi, right? Welcome to 20 years in the past," the man tells Jinbi. "If you don't want to freeze in the cold, walk 50 meters ahead from there. A red bicycle will be parked. Consider it a Christmas gift from me, and then go 800 meters ahead to a hotel. There will be a woman there who, upon seeing the bicycle, will give you a room in the hotel." After saying all this, the man cuts the call. After putting down the phone, Jinbi comes to the same park where the bicycle is parked. Jinbi has no other option. She picks up the bicycle and leaves. People are staring and murmuring. They think Jinbi might be a thief. Jinbi reaches the hotel on the bicycle, the hotel that belongs to Dwan. Dwan says, "All the rooms are booked." Then Jinbi says, "Listen to this code ring. It might send you a message." He says, "What kind of joke is this? A bell code?" Then he looks closely at the bicycle and says to Jinbi, "You are a thief. This is my mother's bicycle, Dad. It was stolen a month ago." Jinbi says, "An uncle called me and said to bring this bicycle here and I would get a room." Dwan says, "You're crazy. You're returning our own bicycle back to us, and you are that same girl who saw me while I was bathing. You have followed me all the way home." At this, Jinbi also recognizes Dwan and says, "What is my fault? You were the one bathing." Dwan says, "Everyone bathes like that." Jinbi says, "Give me a room. Keep the bicycle too." But Dwan says, "I will call the police." Jinbi says, "Please, don't call the police." As she says this, she starts to run, and Dwan grabs and pulls her. They both fall onto the sofa. The situation is such that they are on top of each other. Dwan is completely lost in the moment. Then Dwan's mom comes and says, "Dwan, what are you doing?" Dwan quickly gets up from on top of Jinbi. Dwan's mom is very happy to see the bicycle and says, "My husband gifted this to me. Well, I love it very much. Where did it come from?" Dwan doesn't let Jinbi speak, but Dwan's mom says, "Let the girl speak." Jinbi says, "I didn't steal it. I found it in the park and brought it here." Dwan's mom says, "Come on, however it happened, it has come back to me." She gives Jinbi some money, but Dwan says, "Mom, you have no idea, and this girl saw me in what condition in the bathroom." Dwan's mom says, "You are a man. Behave like one." Jinbi returns the money to Dwan's mom and says, "I want a room here." Dwan's mom gives Jinbi a room. In the next scene, Jinbi is sitting in the room, thinking over everything. She thinks, what is all this? I will get the answer to all my questions from that same bathroom where my time travel happened. Then she falls asleep. The next morning, Dwan comes to Jinbi's room and says, "Did you really see what you shouldn't have seen, me while bathing?" But Jinbi says, "I didn't see any such thing." Jinbi says, "Let's make a deal, and you forget that I saw you, and you forget that I was there." In the next scene, Dwan is downstairs in his hall when Jinbi comes in. Dwan's heartbeat increases upon seeing Jinbi because Dwan has become attracted to her. Dwan quickly runs away from there. Dwan's mom asks Jinbi about breakfast. Then Dwan comes back and asks Jinbi, "What is your name?" Jinbi tells him her name. Then Dwan goes to school. In the next scene, Dwan is at his school, and it is break time. Dwan has already told his friend about Jinbi. The friend says, "Maybe she's some thief?" But Dwan says, "No, this girl seems like a foreigner to me, or like she has come from very far away." In the next scene, we see Mrs. Kang very angry because Jinbi comes and says she wants to go to the boys' bathroom. Mrs. Kang says, "What a shameless girl. Even after seeing everything yesterday, she is saying that today again, she wants to see the boys bathing." All the people look at Jinbi very badly. When Jinbi comes out, she sees a name written on a wall outside. And then she remembers, this is my mom's hometown. So she thinks, now I can look for my mom. But Jinbi has forgotten the way to Dwan's house. So she goes to an auntie's shop and says, "Can I make a call?" The auntie gives Jinbi the phone, and Jinbi calls the number that Dwan's mom gave her. Dwan picks up the call. Jinbi says, "I have lost my way. Can you come to get me?" When Jinbi puts down the phone, the auntie says, "That will be 15 cents. Jinbi has no money, so she waits for Dwan. When Dwan comes, Jinbi tells him about the money, saying, "I have no money." Then Dwan goes and pays the auntie. Dwan is very happy because it is the first time a girl has sat behind him on a bicycle. When they both get home, it is very cold. Dwan quickly warms his hands and places them on Jinbi's face, then quickly steps back. Then Dwan says to Jinbi, I have warm clothes. I will bring them to you and bring food too because you haven't eaten anything. Dwan gives Jinbi food. Jinbi says, actually, I have come here to look for someone. Will you help me? Dwan says, I will. Tell me. When Jinbi tells him the name, Kitong. Dwan says, she is my classmate. How old is she? Then Dwan says, come with me to school tomorrow. In the next scene, Kitong's friend gets off the bus, but Kitong's head gets stuck in the bus door. The bus quickly stops and her head is freed. She is running along with her friend and yelling at the bus driver when Jinbi pulls Kitong from behind and says, are you Kitong? And your mom's name is Li Fing and your dad's name is Lefao? Kitong says, who are you? Right then, Kitong's friend Meow comes, and Jinbi recognizes her. That is Auntie Meow. So she happily hugs her. Then Jinbi remembers that Jinbi's mom had told her about her own childhood friend who had moved abroad. Jinbi says, I am Hua. Kitong believes her. Yes, it really is Hua. Kitong takes Jinbi to her house and says to her mom, this is Hua, my friend. Jinbi is happy to see her grandmother and says, yes, I have seen her before. After feeding Jinbi, Kitong brings her to her room. Jinbi says, is this your own separate room? Kitong says, yes. Jinbi thinks, I was never given a separate room. Kitong says, I have missed you very much. Then Jinbi says, come on, let me stay with you here for a few days. In the next scene, the three of them are eating crickets. Then Kitong's grandfather comes, and Kitong is very happy to see her papa. But Jinbi remembers what her mom used to say. My dad was the most handsome man in the world. But Jinbi thinks, I don't feel that way at all. Then Mr. Lifu asks Jinbi about her family. At that moment, Jinbi's grandmother says, you have come home drunk again today. The two of them start fighting. Jinbi starts to say something, but Kitong says, this is their daily routine. Leave it. There, Dwan is waiting, wondering where Jinbi has gone. Then Jinbi's call comes, and she says to Dwan, I have found Kitong. Dwan says, I will come to get you. But Jinbi says she will stay here for a few days and tells him, also tell your mom, Dwan, and then cuts the call. Dwan feels very bad. In the next scene, Jinbi is watching TV with her family when Mr. Lifu asks Jinbi, what is your full name? Jinbi says, Li Jinbi. Then her grandmother says, wasn't your name Hua? Then Jinbi says, yes, but I have changed my name. And Kitong says, have you changed your surname too? Jinbi says, my parents are getting a divorce, so I changed my surname. Then Kitong's mom says, they both left here very happily. Then Jinbi says, my mom is a bit childish. She only thinks about herself. Then Kitong says, what kind of parents are these who trouble their children? Unknowingly talking about her own family. Kitong's papa says, raising a child is very difficult. Then Kitong says, in the future, I will be a good mom. Then Jinbi looks at her angrily and thinks, look who's talking. Kitong's papa says, leave it. But Kitong's mom asks, does your mom know you are here? Jinbi says, yes, I came with my mom's permission. So Kitong's mom says, stay as many days as you want. As soon as she says this, Kitong's mom quickly picks up the phone to call her friend because she has found a hot topic. But Kitong unplugs the phone wire and Kitong's papa quickly runs to take it away. Kitong says, you must have faced a lot. Jinbi is secretly happy inside. Good, I got to spend time with my mom and grandparents. In the next scene, Kitong is looking at her test paper, where her marks are very low, even lower than Meow's. Kitong says, why do my marks always come low? Then Meow asks Kitong about Jinbi, and Kitong tells her everything and says, she will stay at my house for now. Duan also hears this from behind. Then Duan comes to Kitong to talk. Kitong gets annoyed, but Meow likes Duan, so she becomes happy. Duan says to Kitong, Jinbi was at my hotel. Is it true that she will stay at your place now? Then Duan asks Kitong everything. And in the meantime, Meow says to Duan, I am preparing a present for New Year. Will you help me? Then Duan says yes and leaves. Meow thinks Duan has gone to get a gift for her. In the next scene, Duan's friend says, how shall we celebrate New Year? Duan says, I am celebrating with Kitong and Meow. There, Kitong says to Jinbi, let's celebrate together. Then Jinbi says, I don't know what your friend might think of me. But Kitong says, my friends are very nice. In the next scene, as Meow and Kitong are just ready to leave school at the end of school time, Duan comes and says, I will drop Kitong home, and leaves. Then Kitong says, what has gotten into him? Then Meow says, he is becoming friends with you to get close to me. In the next scene, instead of dropping Kitong off at home, Duan enters the house, only to see Jinbi. There, Kitong's mom is happy to meet Duan and says, have dinner before you go. Duan agrees. Kitong watches Duan looking around the house again and again and says, what are you looking for? Duan says, I'm not looking for anything. I came to learn math from you. Kitong is shocked and says, my score was 20 and yours was 80. Duan says, come on, I will teach you math. But Kitong says to Duan, I'm not in the mood. Jinbi has a fever, so she doesn't come out. After dinner, Kitong says, go now. But Duan says, I still have to watch the next episode while watching a drama. But Kitong is getting irritated. Duan is just about to leave when Jinbi comes out. Duan is very happy. He pushes Kitong out of the room and apologizes to Jinbi, saying, I mistook you for a psycho. Will you forgive me and be my friend? Jinbi says, it's okay. The situation was like that, so no problem. Duan says, I brought a gift for you. It is the first time anyone has given Jinbi a gift, so she happily takes it and reaches out her hand for a handshake. But in that era, handshakes were not common. So Jinbi herself holds Duan's hand. Duan is very happy. His heartbeat increases greatly, but Kitong comes down from upstairs, so he quickly frees his hand, says bye, and leaves. Kitong asks Jinbi, what was all that? Jinbi tells her, there was a misunderstanding between us that has now been cleared up. Then Kitong quickly opens the gift. It is a scarf. Kitong likes the scarf very much. In the next scene, Kitong and Miao are doing makeup, while behind them, Duan is telling his friend that Jinbi shook hands with him, and Duan's friend is stunned, saying, did you become friends with a thief girl? But Duan says, it's nothing like that. She is very sweet. In the next scene, the New Year celebration is going on, where Kitong, Miao, and Jinbi are there, along with another boy and Kitong's cousin, Kui. Since Kitong is older than her cousin, she says to him, call me big sister. Kitong's cousin's name is Kwai, who is now Jinbi's friend too. Then Duan arrives with his friend Bom. Duan is overjoyed looking at Jinbi nonstop. Jinbi can't even meet his eyes. Then they all go to a restaurant. In the next scene, Duan is nonstop looking at Jinbi in the restaurant too, because Duan has started to like Jinbi. Miao gives Duan a gift, but Duan refuses the gift, saying, this gift is too expensive. When Miao finds out that Duan brought a gift for Jinbi, she becomes sad. Kui says to Miao, keep this gift with me. But Miao says, no, because you are not as intelligent as Duan. Duan starts looking at Jinbi again. Then they all start sharing their wishes. Then Duan's friend says, I know what Duan's wish is. Duan wants to win the basketball league. But Duan quickly says, no, my wish has changed now. Then Jinbi is asked for her wish. Jinbi says, I don't believe in such things, so I have no wish. Then everyone makes a New Year wish. Then they all come outside the restaurant and start enjoying outside too when a candy man comes. Duan says, the candy treat is from me. They all quickly run toward the candy man. They can't see the candy man's face, but the candy man gives them each a packet and says, in this packet is one wish of yours. Don't open it in front of others, or the wish won't come true. Then the candy man leaves. In the next scene, Jinbi is sitting at home with Kitong, and Jinbi is thinking, the candy man's voice sounded familiar to me. Kitong opens her wish packet and reads what is written. Pay attention to your studies. Kitong makes a face. Then she starts to open Jinbi's wish, but Jinbi runs away from there and goes off alone to open it. The wish reads, Jinbi, why have you come here and what can you change? On this wish, Jinbi's real name is written, meaning this was the same uncle who had called her. Jinbi thinks, if I have to change something, I have to get my mom to study so that she can get a good job in the future. Then Jinbi starts helping Kitong. In the next scene, Kitong's father asks Kitong's mom, where is Kitong? Is she still sleeping? But the mom says, no, she is studying. The father is very surprised and runs to see. Kitong is doing her homework. Seeing her father, she says, give me food, and starts crying. But Jinbi says, no, until the homework is done, nothing will be given. Kitong's parents laugh and leave. Jinbi says to Kitong, I will teach you so much that you get admitted to university. Kitong says, Jinbi, when do you have to go home? Your mom must be missing you. But Jinbi says, no, I am not going yet. In the next scene, Jinbi is also at Kitong's school, keeping an eye on Kitong, and says to her, you have to study well. There, a teacher catches Jinbi and asks, who are you? She runs from there toward the washroom, where she sees some boy bullying another boy. Among these boys is Jinbi's father, his name is Kdrama, who is Jinbi's future father. He is scaring a student and saying, how dare you complain to the teacher about our group? Kdrama is the worst boy in school. During break, Jinbi is going to Kitong when she sees a student calling out Jinbi's father's name. She stops and is shocked and thinks, this is my father, because I heard his name from my mom's friend. Jinbi remembers all the times that her father never came to meet her and how badly he treated her mom. She comes in great anger and kicks Kdrama hard. All the boys are shocked. Who is this girl kicking the school monster? In the next scene, Kitong and Miao are running away with Jinbi because Kdrama is chasing them to take revenge. But a teacher stops Kdrama, so Kdrama sends his 3 boys after Jinbi. The 3 of them go to a restaurant and hide. They all question Jinbi together. Who did you kick? Do you even know who you kicked? There, when Kdrama enters the classroom, everyone makes fun of him. Kdrama got beaten by a girl. He scolds the whole class and chases them away, then sits down himself. Kdrama's friend comes and tells him, those 3 girls have disappeared. No one knows where they went. Kdrama says, you two are useless. The boy asks Kdrama, boss, do you have some enmity with that girl to do what you did? On the other side, the same question is asked of Jinbi by the 2 girls. Jinbi says, I don't like that boy at all. I hate him. There, Kdrama says, I don't even know who that girl is. Then one of Kdrama's boys says, this girl seems very brave to me because the rest of the girls in the whole school can't even look at you. There, Jinbi says to Kitong and Meow, I can't tell you the reason for the fight. She says to Kitong, stay away from that boy. Then Kitong says, why would I call him and what use do I have of him? Kitong also calls her cousin Kui for help. He comes and says, tell me, my butterfly, who has been troubling you? I'll finish them off. Then Meow says, there is a boy named Kdrama at our school, and he is a bad boy. Hearing this, Kui starts to leave and says, I don't get into fights with bad boys, so it would be better if you go and apologize to him. Kitong fights with her cousin. There, Kdrama's friend says to Kdrama, wash your face. There is still a mark from that girl's kick. Kdrama says, you couldn't have told me earlier? I would have cleaned up. He starts wiping the mark with a tissue, but it doesn't go away. So his friend says, use water. It won't work like this. This makes Kdrama even more angry. In the next scene, Kitong is explaining to Jinbi, don't go outside for a few days and don't get anything, and adds, you don't study at our school, so you are safe. Then she falls asleep. There, Jinbi is remembering how her father was bullying a boy. She thinks, someone who is so bad, what good could he have done with his wife and daughter? She quickly wakes Kitong up and says, no matter what happens, don't hang out with Kdrama. Kitong says, why would I ever do that? She starts thinking, my mom is crazy. That's why I also need to be at her school all the time to keep an eye on her. She quickly wakes Kitong up and says, I also want to get admission at your school. Kitong is shocked to hear this. In the next scene, early in the morning, Jinbi tells Kitong, I also want admission. Kitong says, are you crazy? Do you want to get beaten by Kdrama? Then Jinbi says, I won't meet Kdrama alone, and in a crowd, he won't be able to bully me. After much effort, Jinbi convinces Kitong, but the problem is that Jinbi has no documents. Kitong tries her best to convince the teacher with all sorts of fibs that maybe Jinbi will get admission, but the teacher doesn't agree. The 2 of them come home very worried. Then Kitong says, tell your mom to send your documents, but Jinbi refuses. Then Kui comes. Kitong fights with him. Go away, and what did you come for? You didn't help us at all. Then Kui says, I was scared, because I have never fought with anyone. Jinbi tells Kui her problem. Kui says, don't worry, I will do this work. I will make fake documents. Kitong and Jinbi are very happy to hear this. Then 2 days later, Kui brings the fake documents and tells Jinbi, look, I've helped you. But then Kitong sees that the documents have Arabic characters on them. It was clearly obvious they were fake, and this plan fails too. Jinbi comes home very worried. What do I do now? Then Jinbi remembers that mysterious uncle is the only one who can help me. So she comes to the same place where she had come on New Year's Day, but she doesn't meet the uncle there. Then she goes to the phone booth, but the uncle is not there either, so she sits down for a while. In the meantime, Dwan is passing by and sees her and says, what are you doing here in such cold? Come with me. I will drop you home. But Jinbi says, no, I don't want to go yet. You go. So Dwan runs back home. His mom is busy with work and is surprised to see Dwan running like this. Dwan goes upstairs to his room, brings a blanket, and comes to Jinbi. He wraps the blanket around her and puts a cap on her, then sits down right there on the bench. Jinbi says, I told you to go away from here, but Dwan says, I won't go until you do. The 2 of them sit for quite a long time. And then Dwan also starts feeling cold. Jinbi gives him the blanket too. Dwan asks Jinbi, whose call are you waiting for? Jinbi doesn't tell him and says, it's a secret. Jinbi is thinking about Dwan. Who is this person shivering in the cold because of me? So she gets up to walk back home with Dwan. In the next scene, Dwan has already caught a cold, but he is very happy. A parcel in Jinbi's name is delivered at Kitong's mom's door, and she gives the parcel to Jinbi. When Jinbi opens the parcel, it has all the documents and a bank card and a note that reads, go to school. All the fees are on the bank card. Jinbi realizes this is all being done by that mysterious uncle. She tells Kitong too, and Kitong is very happy and says to Jinbi, but your mom wasn't agreeing. Jinbi lies and says, I have convinced my mom. Kitong is very happy and brings all her brand new stuff and says to Jinbi, this stuff is just lying unused at my place, and it's all new. You can use it. In the next scene, Kdrama and his friend are still searching for Jinbi, but she is nowhere to be found. His friend says, that girl was not from our school. Kdrama says, fine. But the other two girls who were her shadows were from our school. Find them. Kdrama is still burning with the fire of revenge. Kitong comes and tells Jinbi, your admission to my school is done. In my class. Then they all celebrate at night. Everyone is very happy. Here and there, Kui and Meow are fighting because they are making fun of each other. They don't even like each other. In the next scene, both get ready for school and go. Jinbi notices a teacher there and asks, who is that? Kitong says, she is a Hitler teacher. Every day before coming to school, we have to see this face. She checks everyone's uniforms. Kitong says, stay away from this teacher. After that, Kitong's class monitor is shown, who is showing off a lot in front of her friends. She is telling about everything. My bag came from here, this is my fashion. Jinbi says, why are you telling me all this? Kitong says, I am telling you because I don't want you to become friends with anyone wrong. And Jinbi says, I came here only for you. Then Meow comes and says to both of them, come quickly, Kdrama is coming. Hearing this, all three of them run away from there. After this, the classroom is shown where the teacher introduces Jinbi. This is your new classmate. Jinbi also introduces herself to everyone. Then the teacher announces that another new student has moved from another section to theirs, and it is none other than Kui. Actually, all of Kui's friends are in one class, and so Kui worked very hard to convince his teacher to let him transfer. Kui comes and chooses his desk. Jinbi chooses the boy who is Kitong's crush as her desk mate. During break, Kitong and Meow both tell Jinbi, you are very lucky. Your desk mate is the school topper. Jinbi asks, who is that boy? Meow says, well, he is very grumpy, but he has won many medals for our school. Kitong starts praising that boy. Then Kui comes and says, you three are not even calling me. Welcome me too. Then they all start laughing together. In the next scene, the same school topper is shown, who doesn't even get scolded for being late. He comes and sits on Jinbi's head, and Jinbi realizes this is the same boy who is very rude. This boy's name is Guzi. He is not even calling out to Jinbi, and he has spread his things into her space too. He doesn't talk to anyone and gets busy with his studies. Kitong and Meow watch Guzi. Then the teacher comes and announces that Guzi has won yet another achievement for the school. Kitong is very, very happy, but Guzi is completely indifferent to all this. In the next scene, Kdrama is making fun of the teacher in his class. The teacher asks Kdrama to come and sit in the front. Kdrama walks up with full attitude and sits down. The teacher is scolding Kdrama, but Kdrama doesn't care at all. In the next scene, school is over and everyone starts going home. Then Jinbi asks, Duan is also in this class. Why didn't he come today? Then Duan's friend says, Duan has a fever today, so he didn't come. In the next scene, Duan is lying down when Jinbi's call comes. Jinbi asks, are you sick? I heard you have a fever. Duan says, no, I am completely fine. I got better in just one day. Jinbi tells him, I am also now your classmate. Duan is very happy to hear this. In the next scene, Kitong and Jinbi are going to school together when Duan also comes. But Kitong says, your house is far from ours. What are you doing here? But Duan doesn't listen and starts walking alongside Jinbi. There, Kdrama's friend is tired of searching for Jinbi. They think, we might forget those girls' faces. But one friend says, I can't forget the chubby girl. Just then, Meow is coming. Kdrama's friend says, the chubby girl was just like this one. Meow quickly runs away from there. Then they recognize her. That's her. They run into their class and tell Kitong and Jinbi, Kdrama has recognized us. Just then, Kdrama comes there and sees Jinbi and says, so you are in this class. Kitong fights with Kdrama, but Jinbi says, you come with me outside? We will talk there. But Kdrama doesn't agree. In the meantime, Kui and Duan also come and start stopping Kdrama. Guzi also watches everything, but he quietly keeps on with his studies. Kdrama and Duan both get angry and both get ready to fight. In the next scene, Kui says to his classmates, what kind of classmates are you? And stop them. All the classmates help, but Guzi stays absorbed in his studies. Hearing the noise, teachers come too. The director drags Kdrama away. The director asks Kdrama, when are you going to stop all this? Kdrama says, I only went to ask about the reason for the kick. The director tells Kdrama, stop all this, or I will tell your uncle. The class teacher asks Jinbi, why did you kick Kdrama? Jinbi says, it was all a misunderstanding. The class teacher gives Jinbi quite a lecture. When Jinbi is going back to the class, she comes face to face with Kdrama. Kdrama says, be careful from now on. Jinbi says, I'm not afraid. Then Jinbi goes to the class where Kitong, Meow, and Duan ask many questions. Jinbi says, I have already listened to the teacher. Now you tell me. Kitong tells everyone else to go sit in their seats. Kitong says to Jinbi, don't worry, I will protect you. Jinbi says, I will protect myself. Just stay away from Kdrama. Just then, as Guzi comes and sits down, Kitong first blushes and then quickly goes to her own seat. In the next scene, Kdrama's friend comes and tells Kdrama, we have started troubling your enemy, meaning we have punctured the tires of their bicycle. The problem is that they didn't know which bicycle was theirs, so they punctured all the bicycle's tires. Kdrama gets angry and says, you people are fools. If the director finds out, she will expel me from school. If I am expelled from here, you will be expelled too. Duan comes to talk to Kdrama and says, I don't know what is between you and Jinbi, but can you forgive Jinbi? Kdrama says, my rule is whoever makes a mistake, I have to take revenge. Duan leaves from there. In the next scene, Kitong comes to get her bicycle and sees it is punctured. All the students look at the bicycles and are worried. How will we get home now? Just then, Kdrama comes and says to Kitong, are you having fun? Kitong says, why are you troubling the others? Kdrama says to Kitong, now watch what I do. Kitong gets angry and starts hitting Kdrama. Kdrama says to his friends, grab her and cut her hair. Kitong runs from there and screams, calling for teachers. The seniors are bullying me. Kdrama's friend says to Kitong, quiet down. Just then, the director comes and catches Kdrama bullying the students. She makes those three inflate all the bicycle tires again. Kdrama apologizes to the teacher. After the teacher leaves, Kdrama starts scolding his friends, but then he sees a bag and becomes happy. Kitong left her bag there. There, Kitong tells Jinbi everything. I was alone today, so Kdrama got away. Just then, Kitong suddenly remembers, my bag is not with me. In the next scene, Kdrama goes to his uncle, who is none other than Mrs. Kang. He is very afraid of his uncle. The uncle asks Kdrama, whose bag is this? Kdrama lies and says, this bag is mine. Later, when he is cleaning with the assistant, she also asks Kdrama, whose bag is this? Have you got yourself a girlfriend? And at night, he takes a pen and sits down to ruin the bag. The next day, when Kitong comes to school, she has a feeling that her bag is with Kdrama. Just then, Kdrama calls out to Kitong and says, this is your bag, isn't it? Kitong says, give me my bag. Kdrama says, come and get it yourself. He puts the bag down and leaves. When Kitong picks up the bag, ugly duck is written on it. Kitong screams in anger. When the two of them come to the class, Duan and Kwai both come into the class and see Kitong's bag. Duan goes to Kdrama and says, I told you not to trouble my friends. Kdrama says, I was only joking. Duan angrily grabs Kdrama's collar. Kdrama does the same. They both are just about to fight. Just then, the director comes, and both of them start laughing. But as soon as the director leaves, Duan warns Kdrama and leaves. In the next scene, Kitong is very angry and says, I want revenge. The next day, when Jinbi goes to the school office, she sees Kdrama's paper and quickly comes up with a plan in her mind. The director calls Kdrama to the office and shows him the paper, on which there is a drawing of the director and a lot written too. Kdrama keeps giving explanations to the director. There, Jinbi tells everyone how she took revenge, but it stays a secret. Kdrama suspects it was Jinbi and Kitong's doing. After this, Kui comes. Kdrama says to them, why did you do this? Kui says, we absolutely did not do any such thing. Then Kdrama starts threatening Kwai and then says, tell me the truth. Kui gets scared and tells everything. Then Kdrama goes and tells the director that he didn't write anything. Jinbi wrote all of it. The director calls Jinbi and says, why did you do all this? Bring your mom tomorrow. Jinbi also comes back out. As soon as she steps outside, Kdrama is standing ahead and laughing at Jinbi very much. When Jinbi comes back, she says to her friends, who betrayed me? Kitong says, Kui told everything. She comes and punishes Kwai, fights with him, and leaves. You will not stay, then says a lot more things and leaves, saying, bad. In the next scene, Jinbi brings Kitong's mom as her own mom. Kitong's mom comes and talks to the class teacher saying, all of this was done wrong by Jinbi. There, Director Ling also comes. To calm Director Ling's anger, Kitong's mom says, how did you write all this about such a beautiful teacher? But Kdrama keeps coming and again, provoking Teacher Ling. All of this was done wrongly by Jinbi. And so the director in one breath addresses Jinbi. Teacher Ling says, she is still a new student, and this is what she is up to already. She will apologize to Kdrama, and she will also write me an apology letter of 5,000 words. She will go to Kdrama's class and read the 5,000-word apology letter. And if she continues like this, we will expel her from school. Then she leaves from there and says a lot more. When the director leaves, Kdrama says, see how much she loves me. Jinbi is very angry, but everyone leaves and goes home. Jinbi and Kitong get a very big scolding at home. Jinbi says sorry and goes to her room. Then Jinbi says, my mom didn't scold me that much. She would say one or two things and go quiet, and by morning, she would forget all the fighting. Kitong says, like me when I fight, and by morning I forget everything. Then Jinbi thinks inside, who will tell you as you are my mom yourself? Kitong says to Jinbi, apologize to Kdrama and close the matter. But Jinbi doesn't agree. The next day, Kitong goes to Kdrama and says, on Jinbi's behalf, I apologize. Please forgive Jinbi and end this. But Kdrama says, no, only if Jinbi apologizes herself will I let the matter go. Kitong becomes even more worried, and Kdrama leaves from there. In the next scene, Kitong explains to Jinbi to apologize, but Jinbi refuses. When Jinbi comes to school, Director Ling is waiting there for Jinbi. After this, Jinbi stands in front of Kdrama's class and reads the sorry essay. Kdrama is very happy. Now she has forgotten her ego and will apologize to me in front of everyone. But Jinbi says to Kdrama, you deserved this. That is why I am not apologizing to you. And she leaves. But Teacher Ling complains to Jinbi's class teacher. When Jinbi enters the class, Kitong looks and understands that Jinbi has caused a mess again. Dwan is also only watching Jinbi. During break, everyone advises Jinbi to end the fight, but Jinbi says, I don't know why I hate Kdrama so much. Kdrama also overhears this and comes to Jinbi and says, if you want a serious fight, then let's have a serious fight now. Now I will show everyone what I can do. I am not afraid of being expelled from school. I will take you along with me too. Jinbi says, fine, I am not afraid of you either, Gei. After saying this, Jinbi leaves, and Dwan says to Kdrama, we will both go home together today. Meaning he wanted to explain that today, Kdrama and Dwan would fight outside the school. Kui says, while talking, Kdrama, why are you moving? Then Kitong comes to Kdrama and says, Jinbi came here because of me. End this fight. Kdrama starts laughing and says, I have some rules that I can't break. Kitong says, give me your shoe. Take it off. Kdrama laughingly takes off his shoe and gives it to her, saying, what are you going to do? Kitong hits herself on the face with the shoe and says, this is because Jinbi troubled you, and then hits herself again, saying, and this is because Jinbi ruined your paper. Kitong says to Kdrama, is this enough or should I keep hitting myself? As Kitong starts hitting herself again, Kdrama grabs her hand and says, fine, or I'll end the fight. Kitong walks away crying. Kdrama's friends say, what a crazy person. Kdrama says, even I am in shock. How can she do that? There, Kitong is washing her face in the washroom because this was a very big thing for her. In the next scene, everyone is going together. Kui, Miao, Dwan, and Jinbi. None of them can understand why Kitong is so quiet today. Then Kdrama comes and gives Kitong a new bag and leaves. Everyone is shocked. Why did Kdrama do all this? In the next scene, Kdrama's friends complain to Kdrama. Why did you bring a new bag for the girl? Kdrama gets angry. Jinbi asks Kitong, what did Kdrama say that he even gave you a new bag? Kitong doesn't mention the shoe incident but says, I explained it to him. Jinbi is surprised. In the next scene, Jinbi and Kitong come outside to eat with their father. Kitong talks about her mom. My mom fights with me all the time. The father says, she loves you just as much and a child only sees the scolding and not the love. Jinbi starts remembering, whenever I was sick, mom also used to take care of me. I fight with her in anger. So Jinbi comes home and asks Kitong, is it really this difficult to be a mom? Kitong says, how would I know? I'll see when I become a mom. In the next scene, the teacher says the highest marks in class are Jinbi's. Everyone claps. Dwan is very happy for Jinbi. Kitong is very sad because her marks are low. Jinbi scolds Kitong, I taught you so much, and you still got such low marks. In the next scene, Jinbi comes to meet Miao and says, I used to have an auntie. Whenever I was troubled, I would go to her. That is why I came to you today. Miao says, you did very well coming to me. Jinbi says, I am very worried that Kitong is not paying attention to her studies at all. Who knows what she will become in the future? Then Miao says, what about the future? Even I am worried because I also don't study. Jinbi says, no, your family business will do very well in the future, so you will have no worries. Miao says, how do you know about the future? Jinbi changes the subject and says, I'm just guessing. Well, Miao says, if you really want Kitong to study, then make Guzi Kitong's tutor. In front of Guzi, Kitong won't make any excuses and will study well. Jinbi loves the idea. The next day, Dwan says to Jinbi, tell me about your relationship with Kdrama, because since you came to school, you have been keeping an eye on Kdrama. Everyone will misunderstand you. Jinbi says, leave the others. You tell me because I don't care about others. I care about my friends. Dwan says, whatever you do is right. I don't care. Jinbi says, there is only a misunderstanding between us. And then Jinbi leaves. In the next scene, Kitong brings Jinbi an apple and apologizes. Then Jinbi shows Guzi's paper and says, I took this from the desk yesterday. I put it back tomorrow. Guzi is a true genius. Kitong says, that is exactly why I like him so much. Jinbi says, what if Guzi became your tutor? Kitong says, that can't happen. The next day, when Guzi and Jinbi are sitting together, Jinbi asks Guzi, can we talk? But Guzi says no. When Guzi is going home, Jinbi runs after him and says, "Can we talk now?" As Jinbi is just about to say something, Kui is standing near two boys and calls Jinbi. Guzi leaves. When Jinbi goes there, Kui says to those boys, "Look, this girl fights with Kdrama. She is very brave." One boy says, "What can she do?" He tells the reason. Kui broke a kid's ice skates. Kui says, "That's all a lie, like the skate broke on its own." As the fight starts to grow, Kdrama comes and says, "Don't you know this is my school?" The boy tells Kdrama everything truthfully, but Kui says it's all a lie. Kdrama says, "If that's the case, then tell your brother to come with a witness. If the truth is found, I will have the money paid." So they all leave. Kui says to Kdrama, "This is also your fight, because my sister Kitong is also your friend." Kdrama says, "What are you saying?" Then Kui says, "Yes, Kitong told me that when she came to talk to you, you got emotional and started crying." She says to Kui that he is lying. In class, Jinbi tries again to ask Guzi, "Why are you so rude?" Guzi says, "I have absolutely no time to talk with students like you, Peng." Jinbi says, "What do you mean like me?" Guzi says, "Those who fight with other children." He gets up and leaves. The class monitor tries to stop him, but he doesn't stop. In the next scene, we are shown Jinbi's childhood, where she is being shown a dance, but Jinbi's heart is not in dance, nor is her heart in singing. Jinbi's mom asks, "What are you interested in?" Jinbi says, "I like playing basketball." We come back to the story, where after Guzi leaves after the fight, Miao and Kitong come to Jinbi. Jinbi says, "Who says Guzi doesn't talk? He has a very sharp tongue." Kitong says, "You call this talking? Since I have been his classmate, he has never said anything except 2 times. Once he said, 'Take a side,' and the other time, he said, 'Don't come in front of me.'" Jinbi says, "And you call that grumpy?" When Guzi comes to the class and sees Jinbi has seated her friend at his seat, he gets angry and leaves. Kitong says, "Wow, he was so handsome." Jinbi thinks, "Is she crazy?" In the next scene, Jinbi and the other two go on vacation. Miao says, "Let's enjoy the vacation." Kitong says, "Jinbi has not let me enjoy the vacation." Then Kui comes and starts dancing. Kitong says, "I still haven't understood to this day how Kui gets higher marks than me." In the next scene, Kdrama is cleaning with Miss Rose at his uncle's boys' hostel. Kdrama says to Miss Rose, "This is such a boring life. Student life." Miss Rose says, "Shame on you. Many people long for such a life. There is just one you, and I wish I could go back to my school life." Then Kdrama says, "Then do this. You go in my place and I will do your work here." Then Mr. Kang comes there and says to Kdrama, "I worked so hard for you to study. And this is what you say?" He runs after Kdrama to hit him, but Kdrama runs away. Miss Rose steps forward to save Kdrama, and Mr. Kang pushes Miss Rose into the pool. In the next scene, Jinbi is teaching Kitong when Kui comes. Kitong's mom says to Kui, "There is no need to go anywhere. Let my daughter study." Kui is shocked to hear this and says, "Is Kitong really studying?" Kitong's mom gives Kui permission to leave. When Kui comes into the room, he sees that Kitong is asleep. Kui comes and says, "Come outside, let's enjoy." But Jinbi refuses. Then Kitong's dad comes and says, "Come on, come eat everyone." Kui quickly fills his own plate with all the fish. Then the dad quickly saves some fish and puts it on Jinbi's and Kitong's plates. Kitong says to her dad, "Can I go play in the snow, Dad?" Dad says, "If your tutor Jinbi gives permission, you can go." But Kitong also doesn't give in. She comes to the room and convinces Jinbi, "You had no friends abroad and didn't enjoy, so make some memories here." Jinbi agrees. In the next scene, everyone is shown playing in the snow, where the girls sit in chairs and the boys push those chairs with the help of a rope. Duan pushes Jinbi, and Duan's friend pushes Kitong, but Kui fights with them. "I want to push Miao, but she is too heavy." The others pull the chairs, but Kui can't pull hers. He ends up pushing her. There, Kdrama and his friend are also there. His friend builds a snowman and says to Kdrama, "Look, the snowman is as handsome as you." Kdrama says, "Shame on you. I'm not some girl that you're trying to impress me." His friend says, "In Korea, that's how a snowman is made." Just then, Miao comes freshly and falls onto the snowman. Kui's state is already ruined by all of them. Just then, Kitong comes there. Kdrama keeps watching Kitong. Kdrama's friend is just starting to fight when Kitong steps forward and says, "Are you forgetting the promise you made to me?" Kdrama has already lost himself in Kitong. Kdrama starts pulling his friends away. Kdrama had just left when Kui suddenly becomes brave. In the next scene, Kdrama's friends are angry with him, so Kdrama throws a party to make up with them. All the friends throw snow at Jinbi, but Duan comes and saves her. All the friends play with the snow. They are having a lot of fun. Guzi is studying alone because Guzi's dad doesn't like him wasting his time. So his dad always tells him only to study. That is why poor Guzi is studying even in the holidays. And so the days pass. And Jinbi tells us that this was a very great vacation for her, but for Kitong it was just her daily routine. So she is here, and they're a bit jealous of her mom. How did this happen? How was she living her life and I was living a boring life? After this, they all come to see Kui's ferocious dog, and it turns out it is just a small puppy. They say to Kui, You said it was a ferocious dog, but it's just a puppy. Kui says, even this one scares me. In the next scene, Kitong is at her home, eating dinner when the father gets a call and becomes worried hearing it. But he doesn't tell his family. When Jinbi and Kitong go to sleep, he tells his wife, the factory where I worked has shut down. So now, I have no job. Kitong's mom says, what will happen now? Kitong is about to go to university soon. The father says, don't worry, and I will do something. Just be quiet and go to sleep. The next morning, Kitong's father leaves very early to look for a job. He asks everyone, but they are all offering very little money, so the father comes back home tired. In the next scene, we see that school has also opened and the teacher tells the students, all your marks are coming low, so now there will be monthly tests. Hearing this, all the students become very worried. The teacher says, groups of 2 will be made so that you can help each other, but friends won't be in the same group. When the teacher leaves, Jinbi and Meow come outside. Meow says, sorry, why neither Kitong nor I can have a meetup with you, because we 2 always study together. Jinbi actually wants to make Guzi and someone have a meetup somehow. Kitong comes just then and says, Meow, Jinbi and I will have a meetup. So what will you do? Hearing this, Meow's heart breaks. How could Kitong betray her like this? There, Jinbi goes again to Guzi and says, have some snacks. But Guzi refuses to take the snacks. Just then, the class monitor comes and says to Guzi, can we 2 make a group? But Guzi plainly refuses. The class monitor leaves in anger. In the next scene, Guzi is outside on the ground watching the kids play basketball because Guzi likes basketball very much, but he can't play the game because he has to study. In the next scene, we see the kids being given a paper where Meow and Kui can't think of anything. When the teacher sees Kui looking around, he covers Kui's face with a box. Seizing the moment, Kui asked Duan for a chit. Duan gave the chit and Kui quickly wrote on it. Kitong keeps looking toward Kui, but Kui says, have some patience. Let me at least write. As Kui throws the chit toward Kitong, it lands near the monitor and the teacher sees it too. The monitor understands everything and goes to Kitong, but she has gotten caught in a trap. In the next scene, the teacher catches Kui and says, tell me, who wrote the chit? Who are you giving it to and who wrote it for you? Then Kui says, I was not writing anything and I was not giving it to anyone, especially not to the class monitor. The teacher says, class monitor herself gets second position. Why would she take help from you? Kui says, I know, but I was helping her as a classmate. Then the class monitor stands up and says, sir, he was giving the chit to Kitong. Then Kitong stands up and says, why would he give it to me? I was writing my own exam. Meow also stands up to support Kitong and says, I saw the class monitor helping her friend cheat. The class monitor's friend argues and fights. Then the class tells them to sit down and says, you are doing this right in front of me. Have some shame. The teacher says to Kui, tell the truth. Who gave it to you? Otherwise, you will be responsible for everything, and your parents will also come. Then Duan stands up and says to the teacher, sir, I wrote the chit. The teacher says, no shame at all. Then he asks the third person to stand up, and Kitong also stands up. Sir says, you are brave, so I will give you a lighter punishment. And then the class monitor says, sports are about to start. Add the names of these 3 to the door. The teacher agrees. Come on, maybe they will even bring a medal. So they all start training. In the training, Kdrama also comes near and says to Kitong, what are you doing here? In the next scene, Kitong is sitting exhausted. Meow comes to her. She is supporting Kitong, but Jinbi comes to Kitong and quietly stands there. Kitong starts to say something, but then Jinbi says, we will talk when we get home. She scolds Duan. Why did you do that? Duan says, Kui troubled me and I had no other option. Jinbi gets angry. Duan and Kitong go to make up with her. Then Kui says, is Jinbi our boss that we listen to her? Then Meow says, think about it yourself, the one who listens to no one. She is the boss. In the next scene, Kitong confronts the monitor and they start fighting. In the next scene, Kitong convinces Jinbi, don't tell at home. Jinbi says, I won't tell, and I also can't teach you anymore. In the next scene, when Jinbi and Kitong go to school, Duan is hiding his face because he has paired up with Jinbi. He says to Jinbi, I study well. Jinbi erases her name and Duan's heart breaks. But as soon as Jinbi writes her name again, Duan starts blushing. In the next scene, Duan and Kui are sitting when Kui says, my friend has paired up with a girl, and you are also paired up with Jinbi. Duan says, no one can replace Jinbi. That is why I am paired up only with Jinbi. He asks Guzi, are you not paired up with anyone? Guzzi says no. In the next scene, sports class is happening where the teacher says to Duan, take someone into your basketball team. Then Duan says, no one's height is good enough. The teacher says, Guzzi's height is fine. Put Guzzi in your team. Then Kui says, teacher, what kind of thing are you saying? Guzzi has no time except to study. The teacher says, that is so, but Guzzi says, no, I like basketball, but I have no time. As soon as the teacher makes them exercise, Jinbi says to Kitong, an arrangement for your tutor has been made quickly because Jinbi has sensed Guzzi's weakness. Guzzi is again watching the boys playing basketball. Then Jinbi comes and says to Guzzi, if you like basketball so much, I will teach you. And you can also take part in the competition and prove that you are indeed Mr. Perfect. Guzzi says, why would you do all this? But Jinbi says, my condition is that you make Kitong your desk mate and help her. Guzzi says, I don't even remember their faces. I only remember their names. If you agree, then give me the address and I will come there, and I'll figure it out. At night, Kitong and Jinbi are waiting at the basketball practice place, and then Guzzi comes. Kitong goes quiet. Jinbi is explaining to Guzzi how to play it, saying, don't worry, no one is here. Just practice for 3 hours. Then Kitong shows herself. Guzzi looks at Jinbi. Jinbi says, don't be upset. She will do assistance work. Guzzi agrees, and they start practicing. Jinbi starts teaching Guzzi every day. After a few days, Jinbi has only taught 2 steps. So Kitong says, why have you only taught Guzzi 2 steps? Jinbi says, because there are very few days left for the competition. That is why. Gradually, Guzzi starts learning, and he also starts getting along well with Kitong. Watching this again and again, Kitong is very happy. As Guzzi comes to sit next to Kitong, Jinbi trips. They take her to the hospital, and the doctor says, it is just a small injury. It will heal with rest. Kitong takes Jinbi and leaves. Guzzi goes to get the report. Then Guzzi's father sees Guzzi. Guzzi gives the x-ray and leaves. When Jinbi and Kitong go home, Kitong's father takes the x-ray and says, there is a person below our house fixing a joint. Let's go there. But Kitong's mom says he doesn't know what he did to his wife's finger, and it hasn't healed even until now. Jinbi is afraid and says, no, I am fine. I'll just rest. Kitong's parents leave, so Kitong massages Jinbi's foot. Jinbi looks at Kitong and thinks, I wish she were like this in the future too. Then we would never fight. In the next scene, when Guzzi gets home, Guzzi's father is very angry and says, where were you? Guzzi lies and says, I was at the library. But his father starts fighting. Guzzi's mom takes Guzzi's side, but when the father says, you were at the hospital with 2 girls, Guzzi's mom is also surprised. Guzzi says, they were classmates and in trouble, and so I helped them. Guzzi's mom says, don't make friends, all this is trouble. And the father scolds him a lot more. Guzzi says, you always give me the taunts of a small place. Now, do you yourself ever live in a big place? Saying this, Guzzi goes inside, but his father keeps on fighting. Guzzi is very troubled. The next day when Guzzi is at school, Duan asks Kitong, why hasn't Jinbi come? Then Kitong says, she is hurt. Duan says, how did it happen? But since Kitong couldn't tell the story about Guzzi, she says, I don't know. Duan quickly pushes Kitong aside and comes to meet Jinbi. Kui's mom comes to Kitong's house that day. She says to Kitong's mom, Jinbi's mom and dad don't ask where she is. And on top of that, your husband also has no job. Aren't you troubled? Kitong's mom says, it's not like that at all. Jinbi's mom and dad know Jinbi is here. And she is just like Kitong to us. When Kui's mom is leaving, Duan and the others come running. Kui sees his mom and stops and asks for money for snacks. Duan is very worried about Jinbi. Jinbi says, why are you so worried? I will come to school. Then Duan runs home and starts making a skateboard. Duan's mom asks, what are you doing? Kui says to those 3, I have money. Come, let's eat snacks. In the next scene, Guzzi is doing morning practice early when Kitong comes and says, wow, you have already started practice. Guzzi says to leave, but Kitong refuses, saying she came on Jinbi's orders. Guzzi starts practicing, and Kitong quietly sits in the back. Then 3 boys come and say, clear the space. Guzzi is about to leave, but Kitong starts fighting. And the boys leave from there and threaten Guzzi, saying, we'll deal with you too, and your girlfriend too. When they leave, Guzzi is just watching Kitong. What a brave girl. There, Duan calls Jinbi and shows her the ice skates. Jinbi is very happy. Duan worked so hard in one day for me. Kitong is sitting on the side for Guzzi, and Guzzi comes and says to Kitong, let's practice in the morning tomorrow. He reaches his hand toward Kitong. Kitong is very happy. Finally, he made a move. As Kitong is just about to leave, Guzzi says, have you eaten anything? Kitong says no. Then they both go to a restaurant to eat, where Guzi is shocked watching Kitong eat such spicy food. In the next scene, Kitong comes home very happy and tells Jinbi everything. In the next scene, everyone is at school when the teacher asks who hasn't chosen their partner yet. Guzi raises his hand, and the class monitor also raises her hand. The teacher asks the class monitor, "Why haven't you chosen yet?" Some friends in the class say, "Sir, the monitor likes Guzi, and Guzi is not coming to the monitor." Then Jinbi says to Guzi, "Remember your promise." Then Guzi gets up and goes to the board and writes Kitong's name. Everyone is very shocked. In the next scene, the whole class is sitting in the basketball ground when Kui says, "I am the best player." But Duan's friend says, "No one can play better than Duan." But Jinbi says, "Guzi can play." Everyone is shocked. When did Guzi learn to play? Then Guzi also says, "I can beat Duan." Then the match between Duan and Guzi starts. Jinbi says to Guzi, "Distract Duan and score a goal. You will win." The match starts. Guzi scores one goal and tries for another, but the second one doesn't happen. Then the ball comes to Duan. Duan scores 2 goals. As he is about to score 3, Guzi gets Jinbi's message. Duan is looking toward Jinbi. Guzi says, "Are you afraid that you might lose to Jinbi right in front of me?" Hearing this, Duan angrily throws the ball, but the goal doesn't happen, and Guzi scores a goal and wins. Duan is very sad. In the next scene, Duan is going with his friends when Kdrama comes and says, "You were the team leader and you yourself lost. Come on, no matter. I will get revenge for you." After this, when Duan is at home, Jinbi comes to meet him and says, "Thank you for listening to me." Actually, it was Jinbi herself who told Duan to let Guzi win. That is why Duan loses to Guzi. Duan says, "Come on, what? Guzi is happy because he started playing very well, but what about my reputation?" Then Jinbi says, "Nothing happens, and in my heart, you will always be the champion." Hearing this, Duan comes close to Jinbi and says, meaning, "I will now be in your heart." Hearing this, Jinbi's heartbeat increases and she changes the subject and runs to meet Duan's mom. In the next scene, the monitor in class says, "Change your seats." Kitong is very happy because she is about to sit with Guzi. When Jinbi goes and sits with Duan, Duan is very happy. Kui and Meow fight a lot, but then they go quiet and sit. Guzi starts teaching Kitong, but Kitong is just watching Guzi. Guzi explains a lot to Kitong, but she doesn't understand anything. Guzi starts scolding. "How did you even get here?" When she gets home, Kitong says to Jinbi, "I was so happy that even Guzi's scolding would feel nice, but he speaks so bitterly." In the next scene, when the test results come, Kitong thinks, "Before I got 20, this time I'll definitely get more." But she is very shocked to see that she only got 9 marks. Guzi says to Jinbi, "I can't teach your friend. She doesn't even know the basics." Then Jinbi says, "I will teach her the basics. You focus on the advanced." In the next scene, Jinbi is scolding Kitong, and on top of that, the teacher comes and says, "Kitong, you are lucky to have such a friend who is motivating you. I wish I had one. Then I would have been principal by now." In the next scene, they are all sitting at a restaurant where Kitong is playing a game, and Jinbi gets annoyed. Then Duan says to Jinbi, "Go easy on her. Treat her like a child and she will understand." Then Kitong comes and says to Jinbi, "From next time, I will pay attention." In the next scene, Kitong studies all night, and when the next day she starts to fall asleep in class, Guzi asks, "Are you not sleeping at night?" Kitong says, "No, I memorized the formula you gave me," and she falls asleep right there in class. When the teacher sees, he says to Guzi, "Wake this girl up. I will punish her." But Guzi doesn't wake Kitong up. Jinbi says to the teacher, "Kitong has a fever." Guzi also says the same thing, and the teacher agrees and starts teaching again. When the teacher leaves, Kitong wakes up. Guzi says, "Next time, because of me, please don't stay up." And when Guzi leaves, all the others come to Kitong and say, "This is the first time Guzi has spoken up for someone. Is something going on between you two?" But Kitong says, "Let me sleep." Then Meow takes off her jacket, puts it under Kitong's head, and takes Kui outside. Guzi goes to the teacher and says, "Sir, I'm sorry. I lied. Kitong was up all night because of me." The teacher says, "I had already figured it out. I am happy you have also made a friend." In the next scene, Guzi takes the paper from Kitong that he had given her some days ago. Guzi goes home and starts checking that paper when Guzi's mom sees it and goes outside and tells Guzi's dad that Guzi is helping someone study. Dad gets angry and is just about to fight with Guzi when Guzi's mom stops him and says, "I will talk to him myself." In the next scene, Guzi is explaining to Kitong where she is making mistakes, saying, "If the next paper is not good, I will stop teaching you." Kitong says, "Okay." Then, after a few days, the test day comes, where everyone is taking an exam. When all the papers are submitted, Kitong says, "I gave a very good test today," but no one believes her. When the result comes, Kitong has 15 marks. Seeing this, Guzi and Jinbi are very angry. The teacher says to the class that Meow and Duan will be paired, and Kui and Guzi and Jinbi and Kitong. But Guzi opts out of the project, saying his own loss is happening. Outside the class, Jinbi talks to Guzi. How can you say that? Guzi says, I trained for 1 month with you and taught Kitong for 1 month. If she had improved, I would have kept teaching. But now that's it. Kitong is listening to all of this. Then Jinbi says to Kitong, I had convinced Guzi with great difficulty. Kitong goes to talk to Guzi, but Guzi refuses. At home, Kitong is very sad. Jinbi says, It's okay, Kitong. I am here for you, and now you are also trying yourself. There, Guzi sits down to study, but he is feeling bad about Kitong. Kitong has made a study plan just for herself. She herself doesn't understand why she is worried about Kitong. Kitong's father gets a call from his friend who says, I saw Jinbi's mom on the bus. When he tells his wife this, she gets angry. You have no job, and how will we afford this? When Jinbi and Kitong come, her mom calms down and makes food. She asks Jinbi, Has your mom come? Jinbi keeps lying. When she comes to the room and says to Kitong, I am going to tell you one truth. Please don't throw me out of the house. In the next scene, all the friends are sitting together, and Jinbi says to them, I am hiding from my mom here, so how can I arrange a call to Kitong's parents? Then Duan says, I will solve this matter. He meets Miss Rose and convinces her with some makeup products. She makes a fake call to Kitong's house, acting as Jinbi's mom, and reads the script given by Duan. But Kdrama hears all of this and says, Tell me everything truthfully. Then Kdrama, seeing the makeup with Miss Rose, says, so you're for sale. If you don't tell me the truth, I will go and tell Uncle everything. He takes the lipstick and runs off. Miss Rose says, I will tell everything. Quickly give back all of this. In the next scene, we see that Jinbi is not at the market with Kitong's parents, where Kui is winning a lot in the lottery. Kitong's father also plays the game, but he can only win soap, because of which Kitong's mom gets very angry, but the father makes her happy. In the next scene, Jinbi is at Duan's house. Duan and Jinbi are sitting together when Duan's mom says, You two look so good together. Just become Duan's sister. Hearing this, Duan quickly says, No, we are good as friends. Then Jinbi asks about Duan's father. Duan says, He is at the border. He comes to meet me after 3 years. I will take you to meet him one day. Hearing this, Jinbi is very happy. In the next scene, when everyone is in class and break happens, Kitong says to Jinbi, Guzi didn't take me off the seat, meaning we can still study together. Then Kitong goes to the library and waits for Guzi. As soon as Guzi comes, she sits with him and starts telling him, I have memorized everything. Guzi tells her to stay quiet because they are in the library. Then Meow comes and loudly troubles Kitong. Are you studying? Kitong gets angry. Meow says, I am not speaking as loudly as you are getting angry. Meow troubles Kitong while looking at Guzi and then leaves. Kitong is very nervous. Guzi gives Kitong notes and says, If you memorize these 45 pages, I will keep teaching you until the last paper. Otherwise, I won't. Kitong makes a promise to study. In the next scene, Duan and Jinbi are washing bedsheets when they come very close to each other. Duan and Jinbi have both started to like each other very much, but Jinbi doesn't know this yet. Duan tells Jinbi he is going to the border to meet his dad. Jinbi also says yes. Jinbi comes home and tells Kitong she is going on a trip with Duan. Kitong's father gives Jinbi 100 yen and says to go safely. Kitong gives Jinbi new dresses and also gives her 100 wen. In the next scene, Duan is covering Jinbi up when Kitong says, What is all this? It won't even be that cold there. In the next scene, Duan and Jinbi are on the train, where Duan takes great care of Jinbi. When they reach the station, Duan says, Father will arrive tomorrow morning, so let's go back. But Jinbi says, No, let's go and meet him. Then Jinbi says to Duan, I am very happy because no one has taken so much care of me before. Then the next day, Duan's father comes. Duan is very happy to see him, and then he also meets Jinbi. Jinbi and Duan's father talk for quite a long time, and then Duan's father leaves. Jinbi and Duan also come back. Kitong has studied herself to exhaustion. In the next scene, everyone in the class is excited about sports day, and Kui says to the teacher, I won't study because my attention should be on the game. Hearing this, the teacher says, Kui will not get to participate in any game. Kui will only study. Hearing all this, the whole class starts laughing. In the next scene, Guzi says to the teacher that he will not take part in any game, but the teacher explains, make memories and make friends. It's good. Don't be like me. I just kept studying and made no memories. When Guzi comes to the class, everyone is telling him which game they are participating in. Then Kitong asks Guzi, and Guzi says, I'm not in the mood, and goes outside. Kitong follows Guzi and explains to him, be happy. Then she takes his hand and brings him to the class and writes his name down. The whole class is shocked. Kitong held Guzi's hand. When outside practice starts, Kitong tells Jinbi that Guzi listened to her and took part. In the next scene, Guzi is sitting when Kitong comes and tells him, "Look, my favorite singer's album is releasing." Guzi says, "How do you even know about this?" Later, Guzi goes to a bookstore and, seeing Kitong's favorite singer's new album, buys it. In the class, it is the class monitor's birthday. She comes all dressed up, and everyone keeps staring at her. Duan is watching her when Jinbi glares, so Duan quickly looks down. Kitong, Jinbi, and Miao are later in the bathroom, where Kitong is imitating the class monitor's show-off in class. When the class monitor comes there and fights with Kitong and Miao, then leaves. Kitong always has that notebook with her. Kitong has taken her studies so seriously that she now barely even talks to Jinbi properly, only for Guzi. In the next scene, sports day has arrived and all the teachers are in that preparation. Kitong forgot something in class, so she quickly runs and goes to get the chocolate. She brought it for Guzi. On the way, Kdrama meets her and asks, "Which sport did you participate in?" Kitong says, "In the race." Hearing this, Kdrama says, "You will run." He then gives her a soft drink and asks, "Whose chocolate is this?" Kitong says, "It's for our class topper." Kdrama understands she is talking about Guzi. He takes the drink back from Kitong and says, "Take it from the one you are giving the chocolate to." In the next scene, all the students are in a line on the ground. Kdrama's eyes are only on Kitong, but Kitong is thinking about something completely different. When the speech is finally over, the students are happy. Finally, the boring part is done. When the rope competition is about to start, Guzi says, "Duan and I will be in the front, and Miao and the other girls in the middle." Hearing this, everyone is very happy. Then the competition starts, and Kdrama's team is losing. Kdrama cheats and calls his friends. Then Guzi says to the teacher, "Cheating happened," but Kdrama starts fighting and hits Guzi. All the boys start fighting each other. Kdrama is hitting Guzi especially hard because of Kitong. The teacher stops them. Director Ling is also very angry. After Director Ling goes in, the teacher asks them, "Are you all okay?" Then Kitong brings a bandage and starts applying it to Guzi when Kdrama shoves, so the bandage lands on Guzi's lips. Guzi likes Kitong taking care of him. Then the class monitor gives a speech and Kui says, "Except for the monitor, no one did anything properly." But Kitong says she will prove it by winning the race. As soon as the race starts, Kdrama sends his friends to the girl writing the points and gets Kitong's number bumped up, meaning her number is increased. His friend says, "Why are you helping your enemy? Could it be you have fallen for this girl?" Kdrama says, "Don't talk nonsense. Just do what I say." When the friend goes and pressures the girl and changes the number, Kitong is already about to come first. But because of Kdrama, she is disqualified, saying she cheated. Director Ling catches Kdrama's friends. They say to Kitong, "Sister-in-law, we made a mistake." Kitong fights and leaves. Kdrama lashes out at his friends. Then they are writing a sorry letter, which is very difficult for Guzi because it is the first time he is writing it. Everyone is very shocked how perfectly he wrote it. There, Kitong starts crying. For the first time, she was about to come in third place. Then Director Ling comes and scolds everyone. Kitong is sitting alone and sad when Guzi comes and sits with her and gives her the album. Kitong is very happy to see this, right there. Kdrama is watching all this, he is very jealous, and leaves. Kitong comes home and doesn't even let Jinbi touch the album. And when she goes to school the next day, Kdrama comes to apologize. But Kitong tells him to stay away, and she has brought a gift for Guzi, which he likes very much. In the next scene, exams are happening. The paper by which these seniors were supposed to move up. Everyone gives the paper well. When the results come, Guzi sees Kitong's marks. She has passed. When Guzi goes home, his parents don't like Guzi's marks and fight with him. "Why are you helping another girl?" Angry and upset, he goes to the library where Kitong is already there. She asks Guzi, "Why is your mood bad?" Guzi says, "I had a fight with my parents." After Kitong gives him encouragement, she says, "We are having a barbecue party. You also come. I will wait for you." When everyone is sitting at the restaurant, Kitong keeps looking outside again and again. Kui says, "Guzi won't come." Just then Guzi comes, but Kui doesn't know it. Duan says to Kui, "If Guzi comes, what will you do?" Kui says, "I'll eat a stick." Then when he sees Guzi, he has to eat the stick, poor fellow. It wouldn't go down his throat. Everyone laughs watching this. Guzi comes among the friends and is very happy. In the next scene, Kitong's father's back is hurting, and Kitong massages it. Kitong's mom says, "How did you clean the dishes?" Kitong says, "Jinbi did all this." Kitong goes to the bookstore where Guzi is already there. He reads a fairy tale story aloud. Guzi has started to like Kitong, so he also takes the book home. When Kitong is coming home, she meets a teacher on the way who gives her a card and says, "Take a flight attendant course." She comes home and tells all her friends. Everyone agrees to share their own money to make it happen, but Guzi gets angry. Kui asks his mom for 1,000 yuan, half his and half for Kitong, but he doesn't tell his family that he is also paying Kitong's fees. In the next scene, Kdrama is telling his friends, "If we don't pass, my uncle will not spare me." In the next scene, Kitong is watching TV with her mom when she checks the time and runs to Dwan's house and asks, "Where has Jinbi gone?" Dwan says, "Jinbi left at 6. Both of them go out to search for Jinbi. Dwan's bicycle gets a puncture, so he also leaves it on the road and continues on foot. Kitong also goes searching. As she passes by Kdrama, Kdrama says to his friends, "That was Kitong, wasn't it?" Kitong goes a little farther when Kitong's bicycle chain falls off. Just then, 2 boys come and start troubling Kitong. Kitong is very scared, but as soon as Kdrama comes, Kitong hides behind him. Kdrama beats those boys and chases them away. Dwan finds Jinbi sitting and eating with Kui. Dwan comes and gets very angry. Jinbi comes home angrily, and there, Kitong is also fighting with Kdrama. But Kdrama walks her home for her safety. At home, Kitong tells Jinbi everything about what Kdrama did, and Jinbi tells her about Dwan's anger. Kitong says, "He was just saying that out of worry for you." He was very worried. In the next scene, Kdrama is sitting with his friends, and they have already found out he failed. Another friend also failed, but one friend has passed. They all remember their memories and get emotional. Kdrama's uncle is very angry. Miss Rose says, "Let's bring in the new year." Then when Kdrama is leaving, a teacher meets him and stops him to talk, saying, "Don't do this just for yourself. Do it at least for your uncle." Kdrama agrees. He will now study with the juniors. In the next scene, Kdrama is studying when Kitong sees and is very surprised. When the test happens, Kdrama's marks are very good. The teacher says, "Now there will be a parent meeting." Everyone is very worried. What if all their secrets get to their homes? But Kdrama says, a parent meeting happens on a call. No one knows whose parent is whose. He brings fake parents who only keep clapping, but at the end, when it is said, "Go to your child's class and we will talk there," they are all caught. Then all their real parents are called and everything is told to them. Director Ling tells everything. Jinbi is outside worried about her friends. She says to Kdrama, "You did not do a good thing." After this at home, Kitong gets very scolded. "You are dating 2 boys." Kitong's father comes and saves the 2 of them. There, Dwan also gets very scolded, and Miao and Kui too. In the next scene, the 5 of them are sitting together and thinking, why did we even trust Kdrama? When they go to the class, the teacher is also very angry there, because the teacher had heard a lot from Guzi's father. He is venting his anger on them. In the next scene, Jinbi writes a note to Kdrama, which Kitong reads, but she acts as if she knows nothing. When Kdrama goes to the meeting spot, he says to Jinbi, "I know everything, that you are living at Kitong's house by lying, and you had Miss Rose call as your fake mom." Jinbi says, "Kitong knows all of this, and you stay away from Kitong." Then Kdrama angrily comes to hit Jinbi, but Kitong comes to defend Jinbi, and Kdrama pushes her too. But suddenly Kitong has severe pain in her belly, and she can't even get up. Kdrama quickly picks her up and takes her to the hospital. When the news reaches the class teacher, she calls home. Kitong's other friends also find out. They are all very worried. Kdrama goes home, gets money, and comes. There, Kitong's operation is happening. She has appendicitis. When Kitong's father arrives, he thanks the class teacher and says to leave. When Jinbi is coming to say goodbye to the teacher, Kdrama gives money to Jinbi and apologizes and leaves. Kitong's father is very worried looking at the bills when Jinbi comes and says, "The bills have been paid." Kitong's father says, "I will not take money from you anymore." But Jinbi says, "I am living at your house. It is my responsibility." Kitong's mom is also very happy. There, when Kui and the rest arrive, Dwan asks about the fight, and Jinbi says, "All of this was done by Kdrama, but Kdrama was hitting me and Kitong accidentally came in between." Hearing this, Dwan angrily goes to Kdrama, who is already very worried because of Kitong. There, Dwan starts a fight. Then, when the 2 of them are in class, both of their eyes are swollen. Seeing this, the teacher calls them to the office. There, both go and look at each other, where they remember the night after the fight, when they had shared things. Kdrama told how his parents had died, and Dwan told how his father had also died. And now in the present, the teacher asks both of them, "Did you 2 have a fight?" But both of them deny it. In the next scene, Kitong is in the hospital bed saying, "I am hungry, won't someone ask?" Just then, Guzi comes and asks about her and starts to leave, then asks about her food. Kitong is very happy that Guzi came forward for her. Kdrama brings some fruit for Kitong. As he opens the door, he sees Guzi sitting there. He quietly places the fruit, says sorry, and leaves. There, Jinbi brings medicine for Dwan. Dwan is very happy. There, Kitong is feeling very well after eating catfish. When Jinbi and Dwan come to visit, they are very shocked to see Guzi there. And Miao too. The nurse scolds Kitong's mom. surgery just happened and you are feeding her catfish? Guzi apologizes, but Kitong's mom says that is Kitong's own fault. Just then, Kui comes again with catfish. Everyone is very shocked. In the next scene, Kitong's parents are talking about money when Jinbi hears it and gives Kitong's mom the money the mysterious uncle gave her, but with great difficulty. After this, Kdrama and Jinbi are sitting and Kdrama says, I won't fight anymore and will only study. But I can't stay away from Kitong no matter what. In the next scene, Kitong has come home because in the hospital, Kitong meets Kitong's father's friend, who tells her about the factory shutting down. Kitong's father comes home and lies to Kitong. There is a lot of overwork at the factory. Kitong is very worried. In the next scene, Kitong tells Jinbi, today is my birthday. Every year my parents celebrate my birthday, but this time they couldn't. She also tells Jinbi about her dad's factory closing. Jinbi says, I have only celebrated my birthday twice in my whole childhood. After this, as Kitong comes to the room, Kitong's father brings candles placed on top of buns, and they all celebrate together. Kitong makes a promise to her father, from now on, I will work very hard and get admitted to university. In the next scene, Kitong goes to school, and both Guzi and Kdrama are very happy. But Kitong doesn't even glance at Kdrama. She says to Guzi, now we have to work even harder. After this, when Kdrama goes to meet Kitong, she tells him to stay away. This breaks Kdrama's heart and he moves his desk away. The whole class is surprised because after that day, Kdrama never troubled anyone anymore. In fact, the whole class starts working hard. When 100 days are left for the exams, an announcement is made at school that an art festival is going to happen. But seniors will not be allowed to participate. Hearing this, the class monitor goes to the teacher and requests, this is their last year. When the teacher goes to the director and talks, she refuses. But when the whole class requests, the class teacher goes to the principal. The principal sets one condition. If they score 30 more marks in the next exams, they can also participate. The whole class gives up hope, but Kitong stands up and says she will score 30 more marks. After this, the whole class agrees. In this way, they can all participate. In the next scene, they are all studying nonstop. Then Kui says, we only have to study. Aren't we doing any performance? Hearing this, everyone thinks about a performance. Then Jinbi decides that they will sing a song, which she will write herself. Everyone agrees. Kui says, let's party, but Kitong refuses. Don't waste the parents' money. Kui says to Kitong, you throw a party. But Guzi throws the party in Kitong's place. Kitong is very happy. In the next scene, Jinbi is writing a song and says to Duan, I need a guitar. Duan asks the whole class, but he only gets a guitar from Kdrama. After this, they all perform for just 20 minutes and study for the rest of the day. After this, Guzi gets permission from his parents to go to the library, comes to all of them, and studies with them. Kui and Mayao are bickering. Guzi watches them and smiles. Duan says, this is the first time I have seen you smile like this. Guzi says, this is the first time I have made friends. Guzi suddenly goes quiet because his father has arrived. His father fights a lot with Kitong. You are not a good girl. Guzi fights with his father for Kitong's sake and goes home. Kui is very angry. How can he fight with her like that? But Kitong is only worried about Guzi. At home, Guzi also gets scolded a lot and his school attendance stops. After this, in the class, everyone is sitting and the teacher announces that Guzi will not come anymore. Kitong is very worried hearing this. Then, in the monthly test, everyone has improved. But Jinbi hasn't been able to. She is very sad, thinking she can no longer participate in the festival. Kitong has been very quiet and shut down since Guzi left. Kdrama and Duan have also become friends. Kitong goes to Guzi's house to meet him, but his mom doesn't let her meet him. Kitong comes back sadly. After this, the class teacher tells all the students they can participate in the festival, and everyone is very happy. Jinbi and the others sing a song which all the teachers and students enjoy very much. Then, after the festival, the entrance exam happens, which the whole class gives very happily. Then, while waiting for the results, they all go on a vacation to a village. Kui tells Kitong that Guzi did not give the paper, but Kitong doesn't believe it and goes quietly to Guzi's house. But Guzi is not there. Then they all go to the village where Kdrama also comes. Duan had invited him. They all go fishing there, but can only catch one fish. Then they all go fishing separately, where Jinbi asks Duan about the night when they were all drinking together, and Duan had told the truth, that he wants to date Jinbi. Duan says, it just slipped out of my mouth. It wasn't a big deal. Hearing this, Jinbi goes quiet. There, Kitong and Kdrama also go to catch fish, where a snake bites Kdrama. Kdrama acts like he is in pain, so Kitong starts trying to suck out the venom. But Kdrama laughs and says, it wasn't that venomous of a snake. Kitong gets angry and leaves. Then they all go back, and the results have also come. The teacher goes to meet Guzi and tells him to give the paper again, and Guzi agrees. There, Kitong calls to get her result and hears, shocked, that she has passed with very good marks, and everyone else has passed too. After this, Kui and Miao are in the same university. They all go there. Kitong and Jinbi are in the same university. They go there. But Dwan's university is different, though in the same city. They all go to their own universities. Kitong and Jinbi have separate rooms, but Jinbi somehow manages to put them in one room where there are also two other roommates. And these four become very good friends. Kdrama is in the same university, but Kitong doesn't know yet. There, some boys are bullying a boy, and Kdrama saves him. Then the two of them become friends. Kdrama is at the girls' university only because of Kitong. He couldn't even put up with any other girl. Dwan meets Kdrama, and then as soon as he meets Jinbi, Jinbi is very rude because Jinbi remembers what the mysterious uncle said. Don't extend relationships here. The time for you to go back is approaching. In the next scene, Kdrama comes to the girls' class to meet Kitong, and Kitong shrieks in shock. After this, Jinbi and Kitong take part in a drama where a senior gives Jinbi a main lead, but since she wants a smaller role, she says to the senior, "Decline it for me." When Jinbi goes to talk to the senior, Dwan sees and gets angry. Kdrama says to Dwan, "This is a misunderstanding." But Dwan says, "Because of this senior, Jinbi is ignoring me." Then when the drama is performed, the senior's lead does it, and Kitong has a side role. Kdrama also takes part in the drama. During practice, Kitong says a dialogue to Kdrama. "Why did you trouble our queen?" Kdrama is very shocked and says, "Yes, Kitong, you liked that battery, didn't you?" Kitong is very shocked hearing this. There, the senior also likes Jinbi very much. He gives Jinbi a rose, but she refuses. There, Dwan also talks to Jinbi, but Jinbi gets angry and leaves. Then Kitong says to Kdrama, "Come out with me somewhere." Going there on a bus, Kdrama gets into a fight with a kid, seeing which Kitong is very shocked. After this, Kitong gets a call from Guzi's mom, who tells her that Guzi is in the same city and has changed a lot. He'd go get his report. Kitong is very surprised hearing all this and goes to meet Guzi. She is very worried seeing Guzi's state. She convinces him to come with her to a restaurant. There, Kitong asks him everything, and Guzi tells her, "My parents always wanted me to only study what they themselves could not achieve. They wanted me to achieve it. I didn't give the paper either, and I disappointed them." Guzi says to Kitong, "I feel very relieved sharing my heart." Kitong says, "Whenever you want, you can call her." But Guzi says, "No, focus on your studies. I don't even feel like opening my papers anymore." In the next scene, Kitong tells Jinbi all this. Jinbi is very worried. When Jinbi goes to her room, she is shocked to see a letter from Dwan. When Jinbi reads the letter, Dwan has told everything about how much he likes her. Jinbi quickly calls Dwan, but he doesn't pick up. After this, she asks Kdrama, and Kdrama says Dwan has gone out of the city for practical work. Jinbi calls many times, and then goes to his hostel where Dwan's roommate tells Jinbi that he was supposed to come but hasn't come yet. Jinbi sees Dwan's room, which has only Jinbi's pictures. Jinbi goes to the station and finds out that there was a bus accident on the way. Jinbi is very worried, and she checks every arriving bus, but Dwan is not there. She is very worried and starts crying when Dwan gets off a bus. Jinbi quickly hugs him and thinks, "I can't forget that I followed Kitong here, and as long as I am here, I will spend my days with Dwan." After this, Kdrama tells Dwan everything, and Dwan says to Jinbi, "We should do something for Kdrama, because he changed only because of Kitong." Jinbi also starts thinking, and because if these two don't get married, how will Jinbi be born? Kitong again goes to Guzi's house, but Guzi pushes her out. Kitong comes and tells Jinbi everything. Jinbi says, "Kitong, choose the one who likes you." In the next scene, Jinbi is sitting at a cafe when it is raining outside. The senior comes to Jinbi, seeing her there, and brings an umbrella. But Dwan comes and refuses for her. The senior asks Jinbi, "Who is this?" Then Dwan holds her hand and says to the senior, "You figured it out, who I am." The senior makes a face and leaves from there. Kitong goes one more time to meet Guzi. Guzi gets very angry. He even breaks bottles. But Kitong doesn't leave. Guzi says, "You are doing what my mom used to do, pushing me to study. I will live my life my own way, do everything I want to do, and then die begging on the road." Kitong hears all this and slaps him. Then, since it is raining hard outside, Kitong stays right there for the night. In the morning when she wakes up, she finds a note in which Guzi has written that he is going to school. Make breakfast and eat. When Kitong goes back to her hostel, Jinbi asks, "Where were you?" Then Kitong tells Jinbi everything. There, Dwan tells Kdrama that Guzi is in this city, and Kitong also meets him. Kdrama gets angry, drinks with Dwan, and then says a lot. "I changed from a bad boy to a good boy," but Kitong doesn't even notice. Jinbi comes to get them, but Kdrama is making a lot of noise. Kitong also comes there and gets angry at Kdrama. In the next scene, Kitong and Jinbi are going to enjoy themselves when Dwan also calls Kdrama, but then Kitong's mood changes. Kitong says to Jinbi, "I like Guzi, and that is why I don't want to give Kdrama any hope." They are enjoying and come back, and Kitong sees Guzi waiting outside the gate. He comes to Kitong and says, "I am very guilty, and from now on I will study and give the paper." Dwan and Jinbi enjoy very much. In this way, the days pass. Finally, the paper day also comes. Guzi gives the paper and comes. He comes with Jinbi, Duan, and Kitong to a restaurant, where Kdrama also comes. Kdrama and Guzi have a beer drinking competition. After drinking a lot, they both go outside and start fighting, when Duan comes and separates them. Kitong and Jinbi also come. Kdrama goes to one side and Guzi to the other. Then Kitong goes after Guzi, where Guzi expresses his feelings, and Kitong says yes. Guzi hugs Kitong and then kisses her too. All of this is being watched by Kdrama. After this, Kdrama says to his friend, "I am leaving from here." Jinbi gets angry when Kitong tells her that she and Guzi are dating each other. Jinbi also stops Duan from talking to Kitong, but Duan quietly says to Jinbi, "You showed Jinbi how much Guzi loves you." In the next scene, Kitong convinces Jinbi, and after that, Guzi, Duan, and Jinbi go on a date, where Duan can't win soft toys for Jinbi, but Guzi has won a lot. Guzi says to Jinbi, "Kitong is my life, so don't worry." After this, they all come back. Jinbi becomes happy but goes and sits alone. Duan comes to Jinbi. Jinbi says, "How strange I am. First I kept Kitong away from Kdrama, and now I want to bring them close." Just then, a man with a light comes, and Duan and Jinbi come very close to each other. And Duan kisses Jinbi. After this, Guzi and Kitong are together when Guzi gets a call. He has passed, and he has gotten university admission. Kitong is very happy. In the next scene, we see Guzi meeting his parents, and he is also angry. Then Kitong and Jinbei go to their parents. Miao is also there. When they all go to eat at the same restaurant they used to go to earlier, Kitong asks about Kui. Miao says Kui keeps proposing to every girl. Just then, Kui comes. He is drunk and says to Kitong, "You become my girlfriend," or Miao, "You become my girlfriend." Duan quickly takes Kui outside. Kitong's grandfather comes to Kitong's house. Kitong's father has been getting very sick. Jinbi also meets the mysterious uncle who says to Jinbi, "Only a few days are left. As I told you, don't extend relationships here. The time for you to go is close." When Jinbi meets Duan, she is sad. They enjoy a lot, but Jinbi says, "I want to break up." Duan says, "As you wish, but I love you very much." Then he gives her a bracelet as a gift, and Jinbi gets on the bus. Both of them cry a lot. After this, Duan tells Kdrama about his breakup. Jinbi is also very sad. She is not telling even her roommates anything, and Kitong has gone to Guzi's university, so Jinbi is alone. Jinbi calls Kitong and starts crying. She misses her very much. There, Kitong is also alone in the hotel because Guzi left in the morning and hasn't come back yet. Kitong falls asleep when Guzi comes and apologizes to Kitong, but Kitong is angry. Guzi says, "I can't give up my dream, can I?" Then Kitong gets more angry. But then Guzi hugs Kitong, and they spend the night together again. There, Kdrama asks Jinbi, but she says she doesn't want to talk about this topic, and apologizes to Kdrama for troubling him so much. Kdrama forgives her. The next morning, Guzi leaves again, and Kitong writes a note from behind, "I am going to Jinbi," and leaves. Duan is also very troubled. Why did Jinbi do this? When Kitong goes to the hostel, Jinbi is not there. She asks Kdrama. Kdrama says Duan and Jinbi have broken up. Kitong goes to Jinbi and hugs her. Then Guzi goes to his parents and tells them he has gotten a job abroad. His parents tell him they have already sold the house. Now they will live well abroad. Guzi wants to refuse, but he doesn't, and goes to Kitong's university to meet her. There, he tells Kitong everything, and Kitong breaks up with him. In the next scene, since everyone has graduated, everyone is going to their own homes. Kitong and Jinbi have gotten a job, so they go to another city. Duan also goes to do his job, Kdrama too. Guzi also goes abroad. But as soon as Kitong comes to the new city, she starts vomiting because she suspects she might be pregnant. Then she checks with a pregnancy test, and she is pregnant. She goes to the hospital the next day, where Kdrama has also come for a pre-job health exam. He sees Kitong there and leaves. The nurse calls Kitong and says, "Bring the baby's father too." Kdrama has already heard all this. He asks Kitong everything. Kitong tells him the whole story. After this, Kdrama and Kitong both go home. Kdrama asks Kitong to make some decision. Kitong says, "I can't hide this from Jinbi for too long, so find me a separate room." Kdrama asks his friend to shift somewhere else for a few days. Kitong lies to Jinbi and moves into Kdrama's house. Kdrama is taking great care of Kitong. Suddenly one day, he gets a call. He takes Kitong and brings her to her home because Kitong's father has been diagnosed with cancer and he had very little time left. Kitong goes there and cries a lot, but Kitong's father gets a picture taken with her and then passes away. Kitong is very troubled. Then Kitong tells Jinbi about her pregnancy. Jinbi is very sad. Yes, she could not change her future. Then Jinbi tells Kdrama that Kitong has decided to have this baby. Kdrama marries Kitong because it would have been very difficult for Kitong ahead with the baby's father's name. Kitong's mom is very sad, but Kitong and Jinbi come back to their jobs, where Kdrama takes great care of Kitong. One day, Kdrama comes and says Dwan is coming, but Jinbi says she has to do overwork so she can't meet Dwan. In the next scene, when Dwan comes, neither Kdrama nor Jinbi is there. Dwan waits for a very long time and then leaves. There, Kitong's delivery time has come, and Kitong tells Jinbi that Meow and Kui have gotten married. Jinbi sees all of them for the last time and goes to a deserted place, because as soon as the baby is about to come, Jinbi will have to go back to her own time. But Dwan comes there, and Jinbi emotionally kisses Dwan. Then time travel happens, and Jinbi is back sleeping in the same bathroom. The bathroom owner comes and wakes Jinbi up. When Jinbi is going home, Kitong is already very worried. Seeing Jinbi, or her mom, she is very happy and the two meet again. Then the two spend a lot of time together. One day, Jinbi goes to meet Meow and asks about Kdrama. Meow tells her that Kdrama is still here and likes Kitong and sometimes visits her. Then Jinbi and Meow together make a plan. They make Kdrama and Kitong meet at a restaurant where they resolve their misunderstandings and find that neither of them wanted the divorce. Jinbi is very happy because Kitong is about to marry Kdrama again. Jinbi takes Kitong to her hometown, to the same house where she used to live with her grandparents. Everything is good. Jinbi asks Meow about Dwan too. Meow shows a picture and Dwan has changed. Jinbi goes to her school where the teacher says, "A new student has come. Welcome him." Jinbi is very happy, because the new student is Dwan himself. Dwan remembers Jinbi well because when Jinbi and Dwan were kissing at the time of the time travel, Dwan's time travel also happened. In this way, everyone becomes happy, and our story ends here.